Welcome to Beyond Synth. Please note, Beyond Synth is an explicit program and may contain inappropriate language. Listener discretion is strongly advised.
All right, hey there. This is episode 172 of Beyond Synth. My guest today is Michael Oakley, and joining me right now is Marco.
Hey, I was just talking to Michael Oakley too. He's a cool guy. I can't wait for his interview.
What were you talking to him
everyone.
about? What were you guys talking about?
Well, he's in a similar situation as me. He migrated. Yeah, very funny. That's actually good. I like that. He moved to Canada and he married a girl over there. So he moved. So it's the same thing. We're both waiting for our green card, all that stuff. And he can't leave the country and I can't either. I was talking about going to visit him because he's actually closer than you are. He's only 3.5 hours away from me.
If you came over to visit him, you'd better visit me because
nah, man, you're annoying. I talk to you enough as it is.
Because he's only an hour away. They would be.
I know. I said I was going to come and visit you, and then I might as well come and visit him as well. So fine, all right. I was going to visit you first.
Listen, man, you just got to fucking visit everybody, all right?
That seems to be the story of my life.
Yeah.
No, so we're just talking about how. Anyway, he's a cool guy. I like him. I like his music too.
Yep, no, he's cool. He makes good music. We'll be talking to him later on in the show.
Looking forward to that one.
But first, let's get the show started. We'll listen to some tunes, and then we'll take care of some business. If I refer to it as business, does that make it like people are going to skip through? I mean, we're going to have a good time. No,
well, it's a good kind of business, though, you know?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, here's a cool track from an artist called OVERVAD. OVERVAD. This track is Silver Stallion. And that was Silver Stallion by OVERVAD. And that song is cool. That, of course, was brought to you by my lovely Patreon supporters. The king of the Pattersons is Chris Dance. That's right, Chris Dance is a really awesome guy, very generous dude. Chris Dance, you are cool. And thank you very much for your support, Chris Dance. And on that note, I should mention that we have some pretty cool Patreon news for Beyond Synth. So thank you to everyone, all the awesome supporters. We reached one of our Patreon goals.
All right.
Yeah, so basically I did say if we ever reach that goal that we would be adding an extra episode a month. That would be the Beyond Synth family shows with you and Hoo-Ha and Florence. So, we'll do one.
All right. That sounds good.
So, December we'll have an extra episode.
Wicked. I had a lot of fun talking to the Synth fam, so I'm looking forward to that. It looks like everyone enjoyed it too. So what are you going to do, like 2 shows in 1 week then? On a certain week?
I guess so, yeah.
All right, cool.
Now, the irony is that I was hoping to take a week off in December after the Christmas show. See, even now, I was going to take a week off, and so I thought, well, instead of that, I'll do the bonus show, but then that still doesn't feel like a bonus episode if there's only 4 episodes in that month.
You got to do it, man. That's the promise on the pledge or whatever on the
It is. So instead of taking a holiday, I will instead produce an extra episode.
Your family's going to be thrilled.
Well, whatever. Anyway, but look, for all the people, all of my patrons on Beyond Synth, thank you very much. We have a bunch of new ones that we'll be talking about in a little bit, and thank you for supporting the show. And so I was actually going to appeal to the audience. Let me know what you guys want as further goals, because I sort of done the math. So for me personally, I would love the real Beyond Synth, the YouTube version of this show, to be a more regular occurrence. I would love it to at least be once a month, because right now it takes me sometimes like 6 to 10 months to produce an episode, just because it's hard to make. I basically figured now that the only way for me to do that and do this show is if I have enough money coming in where I can actually hire someone, like hire an assistant editor and some other people and stuff, some graphics people, to actually do a lot of the work on the show. The next goal is going to be to do a weekly live stream.
Yep.
And then a goal after that, I was thinking I was possibly producing like other sort of Beyond Synth related podcasts. I mean, obviously I still have to finish my Star Trek conversation with Florence. I've had this discussion with people where sometimes when we go into 2 specific topics, sometimes some people feel kind of like left out. Like the Star Trek fans love the Star Trek conversations, but then I've talked to other people who are like, you kind of lose me when you're doing the Star Trek talks and stuff like that.
Which is fair enough. If you're really not into it, you're not into it. I mean,
yeah. So I was thinking possibly creating like a secondary show that might be sort of easier to produce, that might not like, so Beyond Synth, the mothership is the Mothership podcast, and that will always be about interviewing artists and producers and people in the scene that make cool music or cool artwork or whatever, and playing new music and listening to cool tunes. And then there could be like an offshoot podcast that's specifically movie talk, TV talk, and that sort of thing, but it's more about the conversation and also having them with people who have been guests on the show.
So I guess you're asking, what do people think? What do people want, right? And what are the awesome patrons?
Yeah, because I have to set new goals. As we reach goals, it's like, well, what else can I do besides produce this show? And so I was thinking, well, one thing, sometimes I take breaks every now and again. So there is a number I have in mind that if there's enough coming into Patreon where I can pay rent, pay all the bills, put my kids in daycare, so that I have like full-time work hours. If I reach that particular goal, I could guarantee that there would always be an episode every week. Like that's something I could do.
Yeah.
Because usually it ends up being about like 45 a year. Like there usually ends up being a few weeks here and there that I have to take breaks on.
Yeah, fair enough.
But if I had a full-time schedule, like, you know, an actual full working day to work on the show, I think it's fair that I could produce and guarantee, well, how many would it be? Because it'd be 52 episodes a year plus 12 bonus episodes. So what's that? 63? Okay,
That's
so
a lot of work.
yeah, so I have a goal in my head. It's like, okay, that'll be like a few goals down the road, like a guaranteed. If we reach this goal, there will be 63 episodes of Beyond Synth a year, and then other goals on top of that involve me hiring people. So that's the way it is.
Sounds exciting. Sounds good.
Do you have a suggestion?
All that stuff sounds good, but I mean, if we reach a certain amount, I mean, what we could probably do is have branch off shows. We could start up Synthetic Sundays again. Like. See, no, I'm just kidding. But really, there's all sorts of branch off stuff you could do. I think. I mean, even get other people to do stuff for you. It's probably an option. I think, whether it be an interview or it be just special segments, like Florence could do something, Hoo-Ha could do something, I could possibly do so. I don't know. It's hard. There's so many possibilities, really.
No, that makes sense. I think that makes sense, because if there's more coming in, then some of it can be distributed outwards to some other people to produce things. Like, I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, probably the main thing, like you said, first thing would be to have somebody to assist you and help with a lot of things, so that you can pump out more content and do more video stuff. Because honestly, I think for me, I really like your video work. It's really good. Like the interviews that you've done on video. I mean, I don't like to speak for other people, but I think I do on this occasion. I think we all really enjoyed that stuff. It's just really good. It looks really good. It's really professional, and it's really bloody funny. So
yeah, I would love to do more.
I know the videos part is difficult too, because the people have to be at your location too. That is the hard part as well.
I did set up a goal that is sort of a joke, but it's true. Which is like on Patreon, people can see, like, there is a goal that's like a ridiculous amount of money, because I did the math and thought, well, if I did a weekly show where I would have to fly guests in, to be in studio, that's like, $1,000 a week just for fucking plane tickets at least.
Yeah.
Like that'll be part of the expense.
What if you get like $10,000 a month or something?
That's more than that, because I would also I would also have to rent a studio, because I could no longer do it in my house, because there would have to be a full-time studio. There would have to be assistants like camera ops and stuff, because I could no longer do that stuff myself, because I couldn't afford for things to go wrong. Because right now I do it all, like, when the guest is there, I'm the one watching all the cameras to make sure that they're in focus and make sure our audio levels are good, and at the same time trying to also be present in the interview. Anyway, look, we've been talking about this too long. Do you want to play me a song?
All right. Well, MATOS have brought out an awesome new track, which will be featured on the Image Comics new sci-fi thriller, The Weatherman. It features an assortment of basically a who's who of synthwave producers, and it's an awesome track. I've been playing it a lot lately, and it's called Complete Memory Recovery.
All right, this is Complete Memory Recovery by MATOS.
memory recovery.
And that was MATOS with the track Complete Memory Recovery. And that was brought to you by my lovely Patreon supporters. With the 4488, it is Jacob Wick. Thank you very much, Jacob Wick, for being a really cool guy. The best. One of the best. There's an assortment of cool guys. And in the $25 club, Mr. Clint Dowling. And new donor this month, Tim Carlton. So thank you, Tim Carlton, for your support. You're a cool guy. We'll probably mention you again when I do the new patron shoutouts. But anyway, yeah. So that track was, there's a comic series, and each issue has an artist who did a particular track for a particular issue of this thing called The Weatherman. And I know, like, what OGRE is there, and Betamax.
Like, Magic Sword, Makeup and Vanity Set, Laser Hawk, it's a Power Glove.
So for a little behind the scenes, Magic Sword contacted me because I think he was helping out the person who was curating the music. Mm-hmm. And so, he'd already got a bunch of people, but then he asked, like, is there anybody else, you can recommend that'd be cool to do a thing? And then I did a little bit of, no, it's not liaison work. What do you do when you connect people?
You do a bit of, it is kind of liaison, I guess. I don't know. It's, what's a word for it? I fucking know.
Dangerous liaison.
Yeah, that sounds better.
If, you dig MATOS, check out my Instagram. I made a little short film with JP with the little tiny hands, and I directed it in a David Lynch style because he had these little tiny hands when they were playing in Toronto. Mm-hmm. They got these little stupid plastic hands.
Funny. Yeah, well, I was trying to figure out. I thought you Photoshop. I couldn't work out what was going on. What is that, Photoshop, or is that actually little hands? I was like, what the?
He had these stupid little rubber hands, and like, they're a lot of fun to play with.
So random. That's cool. He contacted you to. That's cool. That's
to be fair, like, I like to make it sound like I had more to do. I think he already had in mind the artists he wanted to reach. He just didn't have their contact info.
He wanted to consult with you, probably, just to get your
I think he already had in mind, like, OGRE and Betamax.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really do much of anything.
Maybe he was just looking for reassurance then, or just to touch base with somebody and say, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I missing something? Just in case.
Yeah.
Which I like to do too, so I understand that.
Yeah, no, that's a possibility.
Or maybe he just didn't really care about your opinion. He was just...
Yeah, no, that's possible too. Not many people do, Marco. And I got a fucking mouse in my kitchen.
Oh, God, I had a mouse. Yeah, I don't even want to go there.
God damn it. And we knew there was something going on, but I've never seen the mouse. And then last night, I had insomnia, so we were supposed to record last night, you and I. I passed out.
Were. Thanks for that, for standing me up.
Yep. Well, anyway, so I put my kids to sleep, and then I ended up falling asleep too. I woke up at 1:30 and I could not sleep. last night sucked. Like, I was awake for 2 hours, so I couldn't sleep, but I also didn't have the energy to do anything. Because usually if I have some insomnia, I like to do chores or something, just make use of it. But I couldn't make use of it, and I just sort of sat there in bed. And then when I finally fell asleep, I had 2 nightmares that woke me up.
Oh, shit, too. And
then my daughter came into the bed at one point, and then as she's climbing, literally just slams her fist down right on my crotch. Like, that's because she was climbing, like, at that level. So, again, that's my fucking night. I didn't sleep. When I finally did, I had nightmares, and then I wake up to getting fucking punched in the dink, and then I had to wake up early to, walk my son to school, and so I've been kind of groggy. And then, anyway, last night, I hear this sort of like the sound of plates moving a bit. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. I go into the kitchen quietly, and then there's this goddamn mouse on the counter.
Oh, my God.
And then it, like, escapes vertically up a pipe.
Up a pipe?
Yeah, it runs to this pipe and then just went up. Like, it just moved up. I don't know how mice do that. Like, I don't know if they just have really good grip or they can fly or something. Because, like...
Yeah, they're very nimble.
He fucking flew up the pipe. And I'm like, God damn it. So now I got to fucking...
Well, at least it's a mouse and not a rat. We had a rat the other day.
Oh, rats. Well, I've seen rats outside of my house, but never... No, like, if I saw a rat inside, I would scream like a child. Oh, fuck. Rats are huge, man.
Yeah, I know. This one was big. We caught him, but anyway, it was fucking freaky, man.
How the fuck do you catch a rat?
In a rat trap.
So is it just like a mouse trap but bigger?
But bigger, yeah. Yeah, that's basically it.
So it still, does it kill it?
No, we released it up the road.
Oh, you mean like a cage?
Yes, like a cage. It's a trap that snaps. They put some cheese in it, and then there's like a trigger on it, and it snaps. Yeah.
Well, all the traps I've ever used for a mouse snap a metal thing down that like breaks their neck.
Yeah. No, we didn't want... Well, we're very...
Well, I don't know if you can do that with a rat. That's what I'm saying. Like, because rats are bigger. Like, maybe like... You'd have to have such a powerful trap that, like, if you got stuck in it, it would be like a bear trap and, like, fucking rip your toe off or something.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta be careful. It's gotta be pretty sturdy, pretty strong to cut through a rat.
What a pleasant conversation this is.
I know. Look, can we change the subject?
Yeah, let's. Well, how about this? Let's listen to a track, and then we'll talk about something else. So here's a cool track from BALDOCASTER off the album Moonrise, and this is Sputnik. And that was Sputnik by BALDOCASTER from the album Moonrise. And that was brought to you by my lovely Patreon supporters in the $25 club. Hey, there's Johnny 5 who has upgraded his support. Thank you, Johnny 5. You're a cool guy. And thank you so much for supporting the show. You're cool, man. And of course, there's Emilio Estevez, who we heard from last week. We heard one of his funky tracks, so you should go check out Emilio Estevez. And then there's Action Jackson. Check out Action Jackson, man. All these people make cool music. Do you have any like guilty YouTube pleasures, like weird, like...
You don't want to know.
Yeah, I know when you say that, your brain instantly goes to porn, but like...
No, not porn. It's probably worse than that. But I have a fascination, I think a lot of people do, with
yoga pants.
With, accidents that happen, you know, like on just, I don't know, in general, you know, when things go wrong and stuff. I do have a morbid fascination with it, I guess. I don't want to see it I mean, I don't want anything that bad to happen to anybody. Of course, I'm not that person. But when it does, I'm intrigued by it, you know?
Well, see, for me, I like watching people who build or craft things that are really good with the tools they use and like are just very proficient. Like, so I've been watching this YouTube channel where this guy restores old worn down tools and stuff.
What sort of tools? Like just general hand tools?
Well, the one I watched was he restores like an old deadlock vise.
Okay.
So it's like this old vise. It's like sits on a table, right? It's a vise grip. And it's all just brown and rusty and fucked up. And then, you know, like he's like sandblasts it and sands it down and gets the rust away and then like shines it up and then paints them and he doesn't play any music or anything.
Right.
So it's all just the sound effects of like the tools.
Yeah.
Which is really nice because a lot of those videos, they always play like those YouTube certified songs, you know, like the ones you're allowed to put in the background.
God, I hate that shit, yeah.
So you see a lot of YouTube videos where someone's like, here's me, you know, like building a shed, and then the background music is like this cheesy kind of like 90s techno music, or it's like, and it's like
shitty fucking dubstep fucking crap.
Yeah, yes, and you've heard it in other videos in the background as well, and so it's just sort of annoying. So this guy just plays like the sound effects of him actually using the tools. I don't know, like I just find it mesmerizing. Like I just watch it, and I'm always so amazed at people who are just good at their trade, like, because I don't have a trade.
It does kind of sound cool.
Because whenever I see accident videos, like I get annoyed that people put them on there. Like there's this one YouTube always suggests, it's like, sports fails or fails at the Winter Olympics or something, and the thumbnail image is of a skater like laying on the ground, like a lady and a guy, and it's because it was a Canadian skater, and they were doing like the move where your one skate's on the ground and you spin in a circle with your leg out, and he fucking like hit her in the face with his skate as they were spinning. You see it start to go on. I'm like, oh, this video is all about like sports fails, and I'm like, oh my god, like I just saw someone get like slashed in the face like with a knife, essentially, is what you see. And so it's horrifying. I mean, she's fine now. She was this Canadian, I forget what her name is, but like she's okay. But she got like a slice across the nose. And
Jesus.
So I'll see those things pop up and I'll watch them, but I squirm. Like when I see people like in pain, like it hurts me. That's why I never found Home Alone funny. Because I just feel the pain. Just dudes getting hit in the head with bricks and shit. And I just go like, oh, like that sucks. And groin violence, man. Like when I see people like just get hit in the nuts and people put it together a compilation of like skateboard fails or something, and they're going down the rail and then the board goes out and they just fall right on their fucking dick, like as they're like going down the thing. Like it hurts me so much to watch. Like I don't even find it funny. Like I go like, oh my god.
Well, I don't get that humor either. It's like slapstick humor. It's like, I mean, I like bad jokes or stupid jokes, but when people are just getting hurt, like slipping over, or like the Home Alone scenario, is that really funny? Oh shit, he set up slippery shit and then there's thumbtacks, you know, or there's a hammer that swings down and hits him in the nuts. Yeah. And like, does everybody laugh? I mean, really? Like, it's just weird. It's painful.
Yeah, I feel the pain. Yeah. There's some slapstick I like, but it's more like the old stuff. Like I like watching old like Buster Keaton clips and stuff.
Yep.
Just because that dude was so talented, like just as a stunt man. Like when you watch those things and know that there's no CGI, like when he jumps from one building to another, like he jumped to another building, and then he fucking misses. That's in the movie. Like, he jumps, misses, then falls, and then the next scene is him like just sliding down the building, like bumping into poles and stuff, and it's like, that dude was nuts.
Yeah, Jackie Chan was nuts.
Oh yeah, Jackie Chan as well.
Fuck, how many injuries he had, all his own stunts.
Yeah, Jackie Chan's like pretty much like the closest thing to Buster Keaton.
You know, even Tom Cruise does a lot of his own stunts too.
Yeah, and he's always breaking shit.
He's a crazy bastard.
I mean, but mind you, like at home, he probably literally has a vial of like young person blood that he...
I reckon he does. I reckon he's got stem cells that he injects into him or something.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
Hey man, do you want to play me a song?
I do have a cool song for you this week, Andy. COMPILERBAU has been working on a long-term project probably since 2013. He has been composing songs, remakes, I guess you could say, of famous Bach works, the famous composer. What's his full name, Andy?
Johann Sebastian Bach.
That's it. I really don't know much about classical music, but this is a really good take on it. Synthesizer take. He's finally got 10 tracks, and he is releasing it as an album. It is available at compilerbau.bandcamp.com. Something a little bit different. You might like it, you might not. I think it's fucking awesome and it's brilliant what he's done. And the one I want to play is Fragments of Bach Part 4, please.
All right, this is Fragments of Bach Part 4 by COMPILERBAU. And that was COMPILERBAU with the track Fragments of Bach 4, or Part 4, or however you want to say that.
Yeah, I think it's just 4, but I like to say Part 4. I don't know.
And that was Marco's second pick of the week, brought to you by my lovely Patreon supporters in the $25 club. There's Chris Williams, Christian James, and Joey and Kendra. You guys are all awesome. Okay, so how about this? We got to do a quick Retro Revolutions update. So I'm going to... blah, 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 blah. All right, I'm going to go chat with... I'm going to go chat with Jared quick, and then we'll be right back.
All right.
All right, and it's time for a few retro minutes with Jared. Hey, Jared, how's it going?
Yeah, good. It's 1:33 in the morning here.
Yeah, sorry. People always wonder, like, when we're talking on the phone why our voices sound different. It's because it's hard to schedule, because since you're in New Zealand, the time zone literally works out to be the opposite of my time zone.
Yeah, I'm in the arse end of the world over here.
Yeah, but it's like the complete opposite. See, what people think... You know, they just assume, oh, the opposite is 12 hours difference. I used to be 12 hours different with Marco. But when you're 12 hours different, there's lots of times in the day where you can actually like line up with a person. So it's like 9 a.m. for the one person is 9 p.m. for the other person. But when I talk to New Zealand, it's literally like when I am asleep, you are awake. And then vice versa. And that's like the way it just is.
Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks.
But anyways, man, what are we going to talk about this week?
We could go on about the Midnight Game Boy I've just finished, and there's some upcoming projects with Timecop 1983.
Yeah, so what did you do for the Midnight there? Because you do have a video up on your YouTube, which people should check out.
So I worked with Mizucat. I'm hoping I said that name right this time. Mm-hmm. This one's been done with Mizucat and Genuine Human, who does like pixel art for Gunship and people like that.
Yeah, he's a talented dude. Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, cool. And he's done a little video part for us, and Mizucat painted up the Game Boy. And then this Game Boy Color's consoles basically, so you can plug an NES controller into the top of it, and it's got a TV output in it. So normal Game Boy operates as normal, but you can put it on your countertop, and then it's a console system. And what will happen is I've got the ROM cart coming soon, which will have all of the games on it for Tim. Also, there's a few boot up files, so you can like display the Midnight's logo and stuff on your TV and things like that. It's quite cool.
So it's a Game Boy Color. So to get all the games, you need like a cartridge that's got like a memory card slot in it. Is that how it works?
Yeah, flash card. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a really good one. It lets you like put flash all sorts of things on it, not just Game Boy games. So you can like literally put music and files and other things on it too.
It is just a Game Boy Color, but you've adjusted it so it's got outputs where you can actually make it like plug it into a TV.
Yeah, consoleized one. So yeah, and there's an audio amp in it as well and some other things. So it's pretty pro end. Yeah, and there'll be a box and everything for it like normal. So yeah, it should turn out pretty good. I think by the time we're recording this, it may be about 3 weeks away from part 2.
Okay, cool. And then so the final phase, like the thing is built and the final phase is just getting that cartridge.
Yeah, that should be here pretty soon. Yeah. So that's coming from overseas, and I'm gonna paint the actual cartridge and make it tie into the rest of the Game Boy so it kind of looks sleek. Mm-hmm. So it should look pretty cool, yeah.
Because I saw Tim did a little video to promote the whole thing, which is funny, so.
Yeah, no, he's cool dude. He's been good to work with, actually. Quite a funny guy.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Yeah, I forgot to talk about it when we were, when I did the show with the Midnight a few weeks ago. I forgot to mention it because we were on like sort of a time thing, and then it was at the end. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to bring up the fucking the Game Boy thing that was getting made because I knew it was on the. But whatever, it's all good.
You caught up with them at the show, in Toronto.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome. I think I'm flying over to Berlin with Mizucat to go see them when they come over there.
Well, that'd be cool. Capture some video, man.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so what's on tap then? What's the next project after the Midnight Game Boy?
Oh, I can't tell you, but it'll be a nice little teaser in the Game Boy Part 2, which will have something more to do with the Midnight. It's something else. And then I'm doing a job with Timecop 1983. He wants one of those like the Raspberry Pi Game Boys that you were looking at, so he's going to get me to do one of them for him.
Ooh,
make it all cool. I know you're interested in those sort of things because you were looking at doing it before, but you ended up doing the PlayStation Portable, I think.
Yeah, that's why I ended up doing the PSP. Yeah, but yeah, no, it definitely sounds awesome. So what should so people should go to Retro Revolutions on YouTube or Retro Faith Games on Twitter or Instagram at underscore. What is it? I haven't said it in a while.
Retro_revolutions on Instagram. I wish I unified them all, but I didn't realize it'd start getting popular. So now I'm like, oh.
No, you know what? I made the same problem because I did like a 6-hour live stream a few weeks ago. I got a cue card and I put all my links on it so I could say them out loud. And that's when I realized that I don't think any of mine are consistent.
Yeah.
Like one of them's like beyond.synth.podcast. One of them's beyond_synth. One of them's beyond-synth. One of them's just Beyond Synth, one word. Like they're all different.
Yeah.
All of my social media links.
Was Beyond Synth taken for anything?
No. If I went back in time, but now it's too late because like the links have been like copy and pasted over like 100 and like all these links all over the place. And once you change it, then there's going to be like a dead link on like 200 sites. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So that's anyway.
Yeah.
But look, man, we got to go.
All right, buddy.
But you have a lovely week, and then we'll catch up with you next time.
Take care, mate. Cheers.
All right, see you, dude. All right, and that was Jared from Retro Revolutions, and that segment was brought to you by my lovely $25 Pattersons. There's Gregorio Franco, Lucas Ceballos, and Mike Shima. And I should point out, last week, Lucas, because people who donate $25 a month, they can request a track. He's the only one who seems to do it, but he also had a shout-out that I forgot to read, but it was for me, so now I feel weird saying it. But he said, my shout-out for the month is for you, Andy. Thanks for all the hard work you do to put on a kick-ass show. So that was from Lucas. So thanks, Lucas. You are a cool guy. And now I think we should listen to another track. So here's one from a band called 11-7. I heard this song a while ago. This is not necessarily indicative of their actual style, but sometimes bands will have a certain style, but they'll have one or two tracks that are sort of up my alley or more synth-based stuff. And so I dug this one. This is Inside Out by 11-7.
I can't quite call it dreaming.
And that was 11-7 with the track Inside Out. And that's a cool song. And that was brought to you by my lovely Patreon supporters in the $15 club. It's Hampus ML and Ken Giroux. And with the $14.95, it's Jadarak. And I'm here with Marco. Marco's still here.
I've got a cool story for you. A shitty story, actually. Well, it turned out good in the end, but if you want to hear it...
If you want to hear it, press 1.
Yeah, if you want to hear it, press 1, man. If you don't want to hear it, just delete my whole everything I say.
All right, so tell me your story.
Well, we drove up the road on the Thanksgiving Eve, I guess you could say. At about 8 p.m, we drove up the road to get some cell phone reception. There's a few things we want to do on the phone because we don't have it at our house. So we drove up the road. It's an old dirt road, right? It's not even a proper bitumen or asphalt road or whatever you call it, right? It's not even a proper road. So we drove up there, really bad conditions, a lot of snow and everything. We tried to do a U-turn and we went into like somebody's farm driveway and we ended up getting stuck. We couldn't get, it was like a hill. I'm just an idiot for even going down there, right? Being from Australia, I'm not used to this. So we went down there, I couldn't get back up. So then I thought, I had this stupid idea that I might drive right down, like we're talking like half a mile down to maybe try to do a U-turn. But we ended up getting stuck in a ditch. So it was really bad. We had to walk home, which was like a mile, and it was 0 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about minus 17 Celsius for anybody, well, everybody other than Americans. Yeah. And we had wind chill. It was snowing. It was pitch black. It was kind of creepy and scary. I'm just glad we were safe and we got home. 2 tow truck guys came out. Couldn't help us. They said it was too far off the main road. They were scared of getting stuck, even though they wouldn't. But it just anyway. It was a bit of a nightmare. We went out the next morning. Really cold weather. I mean, Thanksgiving was freezing here, right? And we went out in the morning. Jazzy's dad helped us, and we managed to dig it out. I mean, it's just crazy. Being Australian, I'm not used to these conditions, right? So where we got stuck in the ditch, the mud was around the wheels, right, on the right hand side. The mud had frozen until it was like a rock.
Right.
We had to chisel that shit away. I mean, I brought my shovel. I didn't even bring a hammer and chisel. I didn't even think like you'd need to. So anyway, we managed to get the wheels free, and he towed us out, and we got out. So we managed to get home by lunchtime for Thanksgiving, and I was very thankful that we got it out because it was bloody scary shit, man. So there's a crazy story and something I'm definitely going to learn from. You know, just don't pull into random dirt driveways, you know, especially in winter. You just got to be real careful. Even with a 4-wheel drive, you got to be careful. So
yeah, I love how we talk about this every week of how you know, now that you're living in the States and you're going to experience this winter life and stuff like this. And I love how it only took a few weeks before you experienced getting your car stuck in a ditch. I mean, like, at least you got it over with now.
In Australia, you don't have to worry about having a coat and a hat and gloves and like, you just got to be prepared. That's all. You know, like, thankfully I had my winter coat on because I've driven up there before when we ran out of internet, when we didn't have internet at home, and I've driven up the road, the same place in when it hasn't been snow, the conditions weren't bad, and I've just been in my underwear in the car, you know, because I'm like, I can't even be fucked putting clothes on, like, you know what I mean? So I'm saying you got to be prepared.
Story of Marco's life.
Yeah, it's true though. It's true. I'm really thankful that you know, I had a hat and the gloves in it, because otherwise, man, I could have been in real trouble there. You know what I mean? So that's the moral of the story: is just be really careful, be prepared.
Well, that's a good lesson from Marco. When you're in the snow, wear clothes.
And don't drive down shitty fucking roads, you know, dirt roads in the winter either, because you're going to get fucking stuck.
Yeah. No, that's some wonderful advice. And
yeah, that's it.
But at least, hey, look, the bottom line is at least you actually had this experience early on, so that...
yeah, and everything worked out well. I mean, like, we could have been stuck there for weeks. I mean, who knows what could have happened, you know?
Well, it'd be a pretty sad state of affairs if it took you weeks to walk a mile.
Well, no, weeks to get the car out. I mean, weeks to walk a mile. Yeah. That would have been good, yeah. Or we could have been further from home is the other thing. We could have been 10 miles from home. I mean, you just, you know. I like to drive around a lot and travel and visit all the synthwave people. So, you know, it could have been in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah. I'm very thankful, Andy.
Thanksgiving, all you American friends. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I have people wishing me a Thanksgiving right now, and I keep on telling them, like,
yeah,
I already had mine, man. It was a month ago.
What is it on a different date? I mean, that's
it's
weird, right?
It's a different thing. We're celebrating a different thing, but we're all doing it the same way. Eating turkey. You
know, in Australia, we celebrate the Queen's birthday, right? It's a public holiday, okay? But they're all on different days in every state. How the fuck does that work? It should be on her birthday. Like, every state is allowed to have it whatever day they want. So every state, it's different.
Get your act together, Australia.
Fucking Queen's birthday. How is that a public? That's so bizarre. Anyway, whatever.
Well, how about this? Let's listen to another track here. I'm going to play a song by Social Station, and this song is called Try, and this is the Red This Ever remix. All right, there's a lot of words, but it's a cool song, so let's check it out. All right, and that was Social Station with the track Try, the Red This Ever remix. And yeah, that's a cool song. I'm back here with Marco. Of course, that was brought to you by my lovely Patreon supporters. Pattern Shift with the 1337 and Atom Force, who has upgraded his support. So thanks, buddy. You are a cool guy. And of course, we will never forget the immortal Chrysalia Lane. And I should probably, let's just do a Patreon update here because I have a bunch of new patrons.
Cool.
And I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart.
Now you better listen up, 'cause I'ma tell you what to do. Do that's good to show up on Patreon, that's for real. Subscribing you belong up in the higher echelon. Now let's see who gave money on Patreon.
Alright, so I want to acknowledge, well, I guess we just did, Adam Force, he upgraded his support. There's his lovely song. And new donor with the 123, it's Brad Neiman. Thanks, Brad Neiman, for your support. You're cool. And of course, Johnny 5, we mentioned earlier, he upgraded his support. We've got a new donation of the Beast by Artificial. That's the 666. And we got a new pledge from I don't know how you say this, Lethalix or Lethalix? Lethalix. Lethalix or Lethalix. You let me know, man. Let me know how it is. I want to say Lethalix because Lethalix, I like Lethalix better. I don't know. Anyway, that's with the 269. And new $25 donor, Tim Carlton. We mentioned you before. Thanks. And new donor with the 444, it's Jimmy Groon. I think that's how you say your name, Gruen, Groon. Thank you very much for supporting Beyond Synth. All of you, you're all awesome. Those are my new donors this week, and you people are the best. Know what I mean? Kick me in the peen.
Oh, that was good, actually. The fuck?
I don't know.
In the peen.
So did you eat the turkey?
Dude, this is the thing I love about America. Thanksgiving, I love Thanksgiving. We don't have Thanksgiving. We have nothing like it. So all we have is Christmas. Christmas is where everybody gets together, family has a big meal. You guys got two times you do that, really, like 2 holidays for it. And the thing is, the turkeys here are fucking massive. Like, turkey isn't huge in Australia. You can get turkeys. The turkeys here are like 2-3 times the size. I don't know what the hell you guys inject them with, but they're fucking massive and they're so tasty. Like, we've got so much leftovers. Like, I've literally got leftovers for like 4 or 5 days. I mean, Jazzy's mum made the best food, like so much stuff. Ham, turkey, casserole, just all sorts of shit. Mashed potato. I love mashed potatoes, but can never be bothered making them. They're just a lot of work, so it's, you know what I mean? Like, I just hate it. I'll just do roast potatoes or I'll do fries, but I will not, like, you got to peel it, you got to slow cook, you got to mash it, Anyway, it's...
yeah. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
So really fucking good, yeah. It was. I love the turkey here, man. I love the food here, if you can't already tell.
Yeah, no, it's good to eat. What? Fuck me.
Good to eat?
I don't know.
Do you like turkey?
Yeah.
Is that a tradition you guys have? Do you eat turkey?
Yeah, no, we eat turkey. I've only made one once. I made a turkey, I feel like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was fine. Most of the time, everyone else is making it, and I enjoy it. I'm not a big fan of stuffing.
Yeah, we did do some stuffing, and I actually enjoyed it this time, but I'm not a huge fan either, I have to admit.
I just like, I like the main things. I like the meat, I like the potatoes, the 2 veg. It's all good.
Do you like mashed potatoes? All right, I'm going to shut up.
How about this, man? We are going to have to go to my conversation with Michael Oakley. So do you have another song you want to play?
Yes. I haven't had the go-ahead from him yet, but I know it's going to be fine.
Well, I hope it is.
All right, I got an exclusive track here to play from an up-and-coming awesome album, which will be released on November the 30th, and that is by Electric Dragon, called Dark Water. We've got a super exclusive here. It's available for pre-order already at electricdragonuk.bandcamp.com. If you like your stuff a little bit darker, you're going to love this. The track we're going to play off it is called Black Knight.
All right, well, this is Black Knight by Electric Dragon. was Electric Dragon with the track Black Knight, Marco's third pick of the week. And we'll be going to my conversation with Michael Oakley in just a second. Speaking of this, this dark electronic music, oh, do you hear that?
Yes. What?
Do you hear it's...
What, on yours or mine?
There's a blood moon rising. It's the fucking blood moon, man. It's time for the donation of the beast.
Ow, ow, ow.
This is the donation of the beast.
All right, everybody, this is the donation of the beast. These are all the people who donate $6.66, compelled by the fires of hell to support this show in the most evil way possible, the donation of the beast. So I'd like to thank Artificial, R. Valentine, Philip Back, Penanaro, Luke BTD, Love Machines from Ix, Alexandros Samaras, Zayon B, Tomasz Shimanek, Street Cleaner, Rob Dyson, Renton Brax, Till Wild, Orlando Rodriguez Naif, Straylight, Carm, and Ross Pentland. You are all the most evil donators, if that is a word, donator. Thank you very much for supporting Beyond Synth the most evil way possible, and you guys are all great. And we'll round it out with Polar Wildcat Studios with the 617, just because. Thank you for supporting the show. And I think that's it, man. We're going to go and chat with Michael Oakley now, or at least I am.
All right, I'm excited. Yes, finally. God damn it.
I do have a note, because I'm not going to edit this into the show. Partway through the conversation, we start talking about GoldenEye, the game.
Yes.
Big surprise. And he mentions the map, which everyone calls Aztec. So there was like some bonus levels, and there's one called Aztec, but it actually takes place in a temple called Teotihuacan, that's a place in Mexico. Anyway, but no one ever says that word out loud. You know, Michael was listening to the interview, because I send people the rough cut of the interview, and he's like, you got to make sure to say what we're talking about. I'm like, no one has ever said that word out loud before. Everyone just refers to that level as Aztec.
Yeah.
Because it says, like, it would be like Aztec, and then underneath Teotihuacan, which is like some temples in, I don't know where the fuck it is. It's in Mexico somewhere.
Yes.
It's one of those like lost cities of whatever. People like those things. What am I talking about? Look, it's time to chat with Michael Oakley.
Where were you going with that, Doug?
I don't know.
I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't know what you're trying to say.
I'm trying to say that there's some old temples, and this fucking GoldenEye level is based on that. We talk about it, but we can't find the word. But I'm saying it's not important because no one ever said the word in the first place. Like everyone just calls that level Aztec.
But it's literally called Temple, though, isn't it? The level.
There's a level called Temple.
Yes.
And then there's a multiplayer map called Aztec, which is based on the single player. Actually, no, there's two. There's Aztec and...
But it's like a smaller version or a special version. Yeah, I got it now. That's right, I remember.
You couldn't even play it with 4 people. It was like a map that only let you play 2-player.
That's right.
But, when you played the single player map, people called it Aztec. Like, no one was ever like, what, you like that stage? Oh, which one? Fucking Teotihuacan? Like, yeah, that's my favorite stage. Like, no one ever said that in the world. In fact, it's only today that I learned how to pronounce it just to say this.
Well, I'll hear you guys talking about it soon then. All right.
Yeah.
I love it when we like rehash something that's already coming up and it's like we just talk about it all again.
So for all you nerds out there, Teotihuacan, the big temple in Mexico, which was also a level in GoldenEye. So during the conversation with Michael Oakley, when you hear it, you will know what we're talking about. You know what?
Yeah.
And we've been talking for so long about this stupid thing that I'm going to play another song. Here's a track by Damien Rougier. He's a cool guy. He makes synth music. He's French. He's actually got a cool video for this track. It's called No Plan. Christ, he probably sent this to me last year now that I think about it. But it's...
it sounds about right.
But it's a good song, and it's got a cool video. I liked it. And this is Damien Rougier with No Plan.
through my veins.
And that was No Plan by DAMIEN ROUGIER. That's a cool track. Go check him out. He makes fun, kind of like cheesy, happy synth pop music, and I dig it, so you should go listen to it. And now we will go and chat with Michael Oakley.
All right.
Scarface game on the PlayStation 2. Have you ever played that game?
Yes.
Did you know that, Ricky Gervais, he voices one of the pedestrian people that you do a mission for? He voices one of them.
I played it on the Wii, so that was you had to aim with the Wii remote.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, I don't know how it has aged in comparison to the other sort of GTA clones, but I remember it was fun. Like, and the dude doing Scarface's voice did a pretty good job.
He was approved by Al Pacino. Al Pacino refused the role because he said that he thought his voice had changed too much since the movie to be recognizable as Tony Montana at that time. If it was a continuation of the story of what if he didn't die. But I think it's great. I would go as far as to say I think that game is just as good as Vice City, because I played it last year and I had never played it before, and it's incredible. It's really, really good.
Do you just have a PS2?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't anymore, and I think I was looking for an emulator that would play it. I got the Wii version because I should say here, I'm here in studio with Michael Oakley. We're talking about Scarface, the video game. No, I really enjoy it because I love, Scarface. I love Scarface so much. And so I loved the stupid attention to detail in the game. You meet the Diaz brothers and all these, all the names you hear in the movie. That thing about the voice acting, it's so true because I'm a Doctor Who fan, and there's a lot of old Doctor Who episodes that are missing. And so now they're trying to fill in the gaps by getting some of the actors who are still around, and they make little cartoons that sort of they take the old scripts and they come back and play their characters, but some of them sound so different because they're old now and they have old person voice.
Yeah.
It's the same way I feel about Optimus Prime as well. It's everyone makes it, with the movies and oh, Peter Cullen's still doing the voice of Optimus Prime. I'm yeah, but he sounds nothing like Optimus Prime. The Optimus Prime I know from the cartoons, Peter Cullen does not sound like that anymore. He just sounds like an old man.
No. It's the same with the guy that voices Batman, the animated season.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name again?
Kevin Conroy.
It's their voices just sort of deepen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his voice was already deep for when he started that role, but now it's yes, I'm bit.
And sometimes there's something weird about when people don't play the role exactly, because I know he still will come back and do Batman voices, Kevin Conroy, for some of these straight-to-video Batman movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes there's ones I've seen where I'm is that even him? It's he's not even, he doesn't care, or he's not giving the same sort of performance that he did, during the animated series.
It's the money.
Yeah.
I've never heard of him in anything else.
That's true. There was this one that was a straight-to-video Batman animated thing, but it was all anime, and it was No, it wasn't all anime. It was divided up into 5 or 6 stories that were all different styles of animation.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It was it's a take on remember there was the Animatrix?
Yes.
It's like that, and then there's different directors doing different episodes. What was that one called again? It's not Bad Blood. It was I can see it right now. It came out round about the same time as Year One animated one came out.
I remember when it came out, I thought the idea seems really cool, but when I watched it, I was I didn't like it really. But the idea was cool. I was this will be neat, different sort of interpretations of Batman. And Kevin Conroy was a Batman voice in one of them, and he wasn't even. It was weird. It was he was just talking it was just himself. They just recorded the voice in his kitchen or something.
He's picking up a paycheck.
Yeah, it was weird. That one, the one that is good is Dark Knight Returns, the animated version of Dark Knight Returns.
It's Peter Weller.
Yeah, that's the only one of the straight-to-videos that I've watched where I'm you know what, this one's actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times I find them, I mean, this is not fair to say because I know they don't have huge budgets, but they're just kind of cheap and they're not always directed that well. They have these endings that aren't they just sort of fizzle out and then just cuts to credits, and it's just really, they couldn't have just played some cool music and then cut to black. There's a lot of things like that. And this one was the one where I watched where I was like, hey, this is actually directed pretty well.
They kind of ruined the Killing Joke one. That didn't really come off so well.
Yeah, I didn't even want to. After I read all the reviews, I was like, meh.
Because they bastardize the storylines. They sort of take it and they deviate from the script in the comic books. They even did that a little bit with Dark Knight as well, but Mask of the Phantasm, that's the best one.
Well, that's why, I mean, not to spoil anything, but you and I are recording this on Remembrance Day on Sunday at my studio. So that means that the animated series Blu-ray is not in my possession yet. It will be at the end of the month because I think it comes out November 27th. And I think, if I'm correct, that it also has Mask of the Phantasm on it. So it's got the 3 seasons and the animated movies. So that's cool because that'll be the first time that movie was on Blu-ray, I think.
It's a fantastic movie, that. It's the best one out of the lot.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I love the animated series, so I look forward to watching it. Do you want to talk about music briefly?
Sure. I guess that's why we're here.
Because I like to play a song every so many minutes, but I want to listen to some MICHAEL OAKLEY tracks.
Okay.
Well, should I start with my personal favorite? Is that a weird thing to do?
That's a good place to start.
All right, man. Well, this is a song I dig. It's called Rabbit in the Headlights by MICHAEL OAKLEY.
Taking me 2 steps forward, 1 step back from you. I'm afraid if I try to reach too soon that you might back away. How can I try to hide a feeling that's so wonderful? How do I tell you that you're the fire burning in my soul? 'Cause when you look in my eyes, I'm a rabbit in the headlights. And when you're touching
And that was Rabbit in the Headlights by Michael Oakley. Woo! Yeah, that's a good one. No, I really like that song.
Thank you.
It was fun judging when you did the remix contest. We had to listen to like 30 songs.
Oh, that was insane. Yes, right. That song was the one that started everything for me. I mean, it literally changed my life, that song. I mean, that song, I had no idea the impact it was going to have, and even to this day, when I first started writing that came off the back of a really horrible breakup that I went through with somebody, and
what was his name? Sorry,
Tony.
Yeah.
And I was left in a position, I think, when what happens is when you separate from somebody, I was living with that person, so I had to move back to my father's house for a while, and you're sort of left in a place of what do I do with myself, because it's not just about the separation of being away from that person. You're left with, I'm making every decision for myself again now. It's like, who am I again? What do I do? And you sort of find your feet. So for me, I just felt like I had this unfinished business of writing. I felt like, I always put this off. I would like to start writing again, and I feel like I've got a lot to talk about. So when I started writing songs again, it was a sort of cathartic, almost a therapy type of thing for me, and it helped make me feel better. I had no intention of sending it to anyone or even really letting anyone hear it, and it was just after a few of my friends said, it's really, really good, you should send that off to a few places, and I was like, I don't know, I've only got one song. And that's the truth. When I sent that song to New Retrowave, that was the only song I had written up to that point, and I didn't have any other songs. So when that song got put up and I got that reaction, I was like, shit, I mean, I don't have anything else. It's time to get back in and really, really take this seriously and write again. So yeah, that was the start of it.
Were you doing music before?
I was working as a musician full time. I was playing at weddings, like singing covers and stuff like that. So Adam Sandler, like the wedding singer, I was basically a musician for hire at weekends. I would play in piano bars and restaurants, but it had been years since I had written my own music. I used to be in a band before. We had taken it very seriously and had tried very hard to take it somewhere, but we just weren't that good, and I got quite disillusioned with the...
What kind of music was it?
It was somewhere between like Coldplay, The Killers. It had a sort of kind of indie retro pop kind of feel to it, a little bit like that.
Were you the singer?
Yeah, I was the singer. I wrote the songs and did all the synthesizers and stuff, and I had a guitarist in the band, a bass player, a drummer, and it was just one of those kind of projects where I don't really think any of us had any real direction of where the thing was going. With the music I'm doing now, I've got a very, very clear direction for it, but before it was kind of like, I felt like I was almost having to try and fit in with different things to sort of be accepted, because we were sending our stuff to record companies, and we had a manager as well at the time, and it felt a bit like that expression where a horse becomes a camel by committee. You have this thing and then so many people get their hands on it, and by the time you get it back, it's not the thing that you initially intended it to be. It becomes something else, so I get quite disillusioned with that.
So how old were you during all this time? Like, what was your first band?
My first band was before I went to university. So
and this is in Scotland?
Yeah, this is in Scotland. So this would have been around about 2004, 2005. It's funny because some of the music is on Spotify, but I'm not going to reveal where it is because it's fucking terrible.
Is it funny?
It just sounds like scrappy demos. It does not sound like, for me anyway, like finished songs. But whatever you're trying to do, you don't just one day wake up and like, I'm really good at this, I'm amazing at this. You go through various steps. It's like when you see somebody that's like an actor or a musician and they're doing really well and they're very good at what they do in their craft, you don't see the scaffolding. You don't see the road along the way where they developed and I guess paid their dues and made all the mistakes. That was my making the mistakes kind of period, I guess. But I didn't write for 4-5 years. It was only after that breakup that I started to have an interest to write again. I think I had wanted to write music, but I had come up with a few scrappy demos and I just didn't really feel like I had any direction. I love 80s music. That's something that I grew up with. This whole retro community thing is still relatively new to me, but I hadn't really heard of it at that point. It's only now that it's like, it's okay to do that kind of throwback retro sound that I love, because people love and embrace it. But flashback 10 years to when I was with the band, I had to walk a very fine line with that, because people were only too quick to say, oh man, that sounds really throwback, that's really retro, and retro wasn't a cool word. That was a kind of like, oh, okay, right, we have to dial it back a bit to keep it a bit modern and a bit more fresh.
So, to be clear, you are going to tell me in secret the name of this band, correct?
I'll tell you in secret.
All right.
I'll tell you in secret. One interesting thing though is I did rework one of the old songs from the band on my upcoming new album, which is coming out next year.
Okay.
So I have kept one of the songs. I changed it about a bit, gave it a complete facelift, because I always really liked the song. I'll do like a few of the songs that I recorded before, but that's the only one that I felt was good enough that I still have an emotional connection with, that I wanted to take with me. So there is one song I'll probably, if I do like a special edition of the album, I'll probably include the band version of that song on the special edition, as a sort of demo thing.
But then you'll have to give those idiots some royalties.
No, I wrote it, so it's all good.
Yeah. I was going to say talk about life in Scotland, but I think maybe we should listen to a track. So since we're talking about all these things that happened a while ago, maybe we should listen to Turn Back Time. This is my segue to your track.
I like it.
So let's give this a listen. This is Turn Back Time by MICHAEL OAKLEY. And that was Turn Back Time by Michael Oakley. And I'm here in studio right now with Michael Oakley. He's taking time out of his busy schedule to come to the Beyond Synth studio.
Hello.
So you are a Scotsman.
I am indeed, yeah, from Glasgow, Scotland.
But you are now, are you a Canadian or are you a half-breed?
No,
Yeah, that's not the question. Okay, no, what's the deal? Explain the deal. So if people are going like, they listen to your music and they've never heard you speak before, they're going to be like, whoa, he sounds like this? What the fuck? And then they're going to like throw their tables and flip them and all the shit's going to fall all over the place.
Yeah, quite a few people have said to me, you don't sound Scottish and you know when you sing. I always say the same thing, you know.
Fuck you.
That's in my head. But the other part is, I don't know, I guess I maybe just feel a bit like, see if I ever listen to music and it's a Scottish person singing, or I watch television or a movie and there's Scottish actors in it, there's a part of me that kind of like winces when I hear the accent, because it breaks the fourth wall of that whole illusion of another world. I mean, I like entertainment because it takes me away from reality. So I guess there's maybe a part of it where I guess I subconsciously do that without realizing. I don't know, it's a kind of weird thing, but I think I somehow gentrify my accent just for the singing. But I've always sung like that. It's not something that I just adopted. I've always sang that way. Maybe it's through listening to too many, I don't know, American and Canadian musicians singing and mainstream.
Yeah, I do the opposite, because I hear because when I grew up I was always listening to Depeche Mode. So when I sing, I automatically do like a fake Depeche Mode voice. Like that's the thing that comes out of me. Do you ever consciously go like when you're singing and you realize that a certain sound came out and it's like, oh, that was a little Scottish or whatever, let's turn that back? There's
only one track on the album where I do it at one point, and
the Kilt song.
It's because one of my friends, James, actually, he was the one that said, oh, you don't sound Scottish in your songs, but at that point you do, the way you sang that line. And I was like, you know what, actually you're right. I forget which one it is that I do it in. I think it's in Devotion, maybe. I'll find out later.
We'll poll the audience.
Yeah, but Turn Back Time, that was the second song that I released. I think after I released Rabbit in the Headlights, I went through this kind of period of sort of freaking out, because I thought, oh my god, how am I going to follow this up? Because I had never had, you know, what I guess you would call a success or a reaction like that. So I was under a lot of pressure, and round about that time it was coming up for the year mark after I had separated from that previous relationship, and I was in a period of sort of reflecting, you know. I think I probably didn't really think I was going to get through that year, you know. It was just like, oh, you know, you go through a sort of period of feeling depressed for a while, immobilizing, I guess. And then at that time as well, I had met a girl that I used to go to high school with, and we hit it off, and that's primarily what most of the story's about. It's about meeting this girl that I used to go to high school with. We went out a couple of times, but you know, it was kind of strange because we had went to high school together. I wasn't sure if it was like, oh, is this a date?
Right.
Because it wasn't like, you know, when you meet someone, you don't know them, and you kind of hit it off, and you're like, she's not going to say yes if this isn't a date. You know, that'd just be weird. So we went out a couple of times, and I think one of her friends had eventually told me she didn't think you were interested in her because you didn't really do anything about it when we went out, and she started seeing someone else. So that's kind of primarily what the song is mostly about. It's about meeting somebody, they liked you and you liked them, but it just became this ridiculous situation where it could have worked out, and she should have been mine at that time. We should have hit it off, but it brought about everything that had happened in the past year. It was just a period of reflection. And
in that situation, you know, whenever you're with a lady and you just want to like let her know, you reach out and you squeeze her boobs and make a honking sound. You know, you're like, yeah, exactly, that's what you do. Women love it, especially in this current climate. It's the most appropriate thing I think a man can do to a lady. That being said, now that we were talking before the show that they took the Kevin Spacey's masterclass off the internet, so now these precious lessons are going to be gone. Although, mind you, I don't think he was too into squeezing ladies' boobs.
I think he was both. Was he not just both? Anything with sexual function, he was just in there.
Well, I mean, he did say, right, like that was his parting line was like, hey, I did a whole bunch of bad stuff and now I'm going to live my life as a gay man, which is my favorite. That's my favorite sign-off line. Like, I want to use that for everything. Anytime you get into any sort of trouble, just be like, and now I'm going to live my life as a gay man. And like even when it's not even relevant, like, it's such an awesome thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, this will get me out of trouble.
It was just so bizarre. I mean, surely you would think that you would have like a PR person working for you that would say,
don't fucking say that, you idiot.
Don't say anything. Like, because I don't think he's not been convicted or taken to court. So this is still all trial by media, but it comes to a certain point where so many people come out. It's a bit like the Bill Cosby thing. Yeah. I mean, I'll be the first to admit when the Kevin Spacey thing came out, you're like, well, take it with a pinch of salt. But then after a few days, 4 or 5 people, separate people that are not related in any way, come out. And then the cast of the House of Cards show, there's various people that worked in that show that said, yeah, he was inappropriate with me too. You come to a point where like, there's got to be some truth in this.
Well, sometimes I hate to say this, when there's certain people where the second you hear something and you're kind of like, yeah, that's probably true. Like some people just give off like a weird vibe, and like Kevin Spacey has always given off that weird vibe, so when you find out like if someone's like, hey, he's a bit of a perv, like, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like, technically speaking, like, all dudes are pervs, but I mean, there's different ways of manifesting that perviness. See, what I do is I'll reach out and grab a lady's boobs with my hands and go like honk like this, and then yeah, exactly, and I put on a pair of like googly-eyed glasses. And I was like, ooga, and then I fucking like just run away.
That diminishes the blame and responsibility if you wear the glasses.
Yeah, I think so. I think the key is as long as you have the glasses on, it's sort of it tells the world, your actual intentions.
And you're smiling when you do it.
Yeah. Well, no, because I put on a fake smile thing too, so I've got like a fake mouth and a fake eyes. You press a button on the side of the glasses, and the eyes fucking pop off on little like slinkies.
It's funny though, there's certain people though that you would...
It wasn't very fun.
Like when it comes out, if allegations came out, for instance, about like maybe Clint Eastwood, you'd be like, no way, not Clint. But if it came out about James Spader, you'd be like, he always plays weird roles.
Well, I could see Clint Eastwood being like, he's an old-fashioned dude. So maybe like he didn't do inappropriate stuff, but he'd probably like, if a lady was in the office, he'd be like, hey, get my coffee, and it turns out that she's actually like one of the executives or something. Like I could see Clint Eastwood doing something like that, where like he assumes the lady is like the secretary or something when she's not, but I couldn't see him being like a sex pervert.
No, I could see him being more of that kind of like desperate to keep gun laws kind of guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You just get you can sort of see people's vices.
Yeah, that's my big thing, is I'm huge on the First Amendment in the United States. That's the thing I'm always campaigning for, because like I just like to shoot guns. I'm a gun nut is what they call. Is that what they call them? Gun nuts?
Gun toting gun
nut. I've never fired a gun in my life.
Neither have I, unless you include a Super Soaker 500.
Oh, that's true. I've shot a fair bit of dart guns. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can tell too when I play video games with people who like guns and they get very interested in like the specs of the weapons, like when we're playing video games and like, oh yeah, this is a cool gun and stuff. And for me, I'm like, does it look cool and does it make a cool sound? So when I go back and play GoldenEye, like I love like, first of all, that's like
that's amazing.
That's the silencer sound you need. When I play stupid Call of Duty games and they do like the realistic silencer sound, so it's like and you're like, fuck this. Like it's silencers are supposed to sound like laser guns. Like that's what I love.
I love the laser gun sound in GoldenEye and the what's the name of that level
with the Moonraker?
The one where you unlock the level.
Yeah, it's got
a weird name.
Oh fuck me, Aztec.
TX. It's like it's got.
Christ.
We need to have Google here.
I wish I owned GoldenEye. I haven't played it in so long.
It's like Tetracahedron or something. It's got a weird. It's got some weird name.
It's like T apostrophe.
Yeah,
like because it's the name of the temple that it takes place
in Mexico.
Yeah, what the oh man, because I always called it just there's a level that's just the temple, and then Aztec. Those are the multiplayer maps that are based on that level. Hey, look, let's listen to a song. If I start talking about GoldenEye, I fucking won't ever stop. Well, the album's called California, so how about we listen to the titular California track featuring missing words?
Indeed.
All right, we're gonna do that right now, man. This is California by MICHAEL OAKLEY, featuring missing words.
the nice guys lose and all the bad girls fall apart. Sunset Boulevard, we're shining full of stars, but none as bright as you in California. Here in California. Here in California. Here in California. I wish you were here in California. A million miles away, nothing feels the same. So I'm sending out a postcard from my heart to you. I wonder where you are. Are you thinking of me tonight? I wish you were here in California. I wish you were here in California.
We're looking at the same sun, even if it's the other side. Maybe the moonlight can be our constant. The stars don't know time. Darling, if you're my North Star, I guess I'll always be where you are.
And that was California by Michael Oakley featuring Missing Words. And I'm here in studio right now with Mr. Michael Oakley, straight from Scotland.
Kind of. An hour away.
Yeah.
California, I wrote that while I was over there. That was another one of those kind of experiences that came about. I get the opportunity to go over there and stay with James, who is Missing Words. And while I was over there, we hadn't really intended on doing anything like that, but it was just kind of one of those funny nights because he'd invited a few friends over, having a few beers, and I started playing this like the opening riff that you hear on the track. I started playing that on the synthesizer, and then James jumped in. He was like, oh, that's really good, let's record that. And we literally started building this track while these guys were like standing behind us, and it was just like, we actually just want to work on this now. Any chance you could just sort of like go? Yeah. And we spent the entire night building that track, and the next day James went to work and I wrote the words for it, and we pretty much got it finished within a few days. And the song is about, being away. You can go on holiday yourself to places and you can see all these wonderful things and experience all these like landmarks and famous places, but it kind of doesn't have as big a meaning if you're not sharing that with somebody there, the person that you love, if they're not there with you to share that with you. It's kind of a bit like that, you see all these things but they don't feel the same because...
So do all your songs come from experience?
Yeah, they're all true stories.
So like now that you're living in Canada, like are we gonna get like a Tim Hortons ballad or something?
Well, the new songs that I've been writing have been very much a reflection. I mean, I'm somebody that's lived in the same place all my life, and I've never been in a situation before where I've essentially left and emigrated somewhere else. And so for me, stepping outside of that bubble and looking in on that kind of perspective, I'm able to almost take a different view of everything. So all of the songs are about the other side of that period of time when I was writing California, because California's all love songs. Different types of love songs, lost love, a love that I had found but was apprehensive of, and a love that's died but you're still hanging on to it. They're all love songs, whereas with the new album it's a way different subject matter. I would say it's a lot to do with holding on to your past, running away from your past, and bereavements as well. It's kind of about my life and trying to get away from living in Scotland, because I had become fed up with living there, and it's beautiful being a tourist coming over and visiting it. You've got so many wonderful places, and the people that live there, my fellow Scots, they're wonderful. You'll never find a more sarcastic, witty humour than Scots humour. It's great, and they're so inviting and endearing and welcoming. But when you live there, it can be quite a negative place. The attitude can be follow your dreams, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. And so there's a dichotomy there. There's a go and chase after what you want, but it might not work out, so you better not get too attached to that. And it creates this kind of insecurity of like, I want to do this is all I want to do, but I better make sure I've got the backup plan. And I know that
kind of a healthy attitude, though, isn't it? I mean, it's better than sort of the delusional, I guess, if we talk about like the American dream way of like, you're gonna make it, you're going to be the head of the company.
Of course.
And then if you don't get that, then you might feel like a loser.
Of course. Don't get me wrong. Of course, there's that. You take things with a pinch of salt, I guess. But I
take my tea.
Yeah, I genuinely do believe that people, they're in the small minority of people who are really, really successful at whatever they're doing. They've had to make sacrifices. They've had to really lose everything in order to like say to themselves, I want this. This is what I want, and it builds that kind of desire. Like there's two types of desire. There's like normal desire, and there's like I'm hungry. I'm gonna have my lunch. And then there's a burning desire, which is I'm going to move, I'm going to get in a flight and go over somewhere and work with different people. And I know I don't have enough money, but you know what, I'm going to work in this shitty job to get the money that I need to get myself to do this. And that's a different type of desire, I think. So California, I worked my ass off to get enough money to go over there and do that. And that led to me going away and then coming back, and I stayed in California with James for a couple of months after that. It was very,
well, how do you know that dude?
We were put in touch by a guy called John Kunkel. He's New Division. Don't know if you heard of the New Division?
Yes, yeah.
Amazing band, fantastic band, very talented guy, and I work with John in my own music as well. But it was kind of strange. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a religious person, but I definitely
love Jesus Christ.
I'm a very much a very spiritually in tune person, and I'm the kind of person that believes that when you open yourself up, the right people show up at the right time when it's it's your time to do it. And it's kind of weird. I bought like sample packs and patches for various synthesizers that I use from this company called Sample Magic. One of the packs was called Chill Wave 1 and 2, and I loved the drum sounds that were in that, and I remembered the melodic parts that were in this pack. Fast forward a few months, I heard an album, and I noticed that some of the sounds were really familiar on that album. I was like, wait a minute, that person's using that sample pack that I bought. But it turned out the people that made that album was the same people that made the sample pack.
Right.
So I contacted this guy John, and I said, I really love your work, and I love your sample packs. That's amazing. So we struck up a conversation, and he put me in touch with James. They were wanting to do a retro kind of project thing, and they wanted a singer, so they asked if I would sing on it. That never materialised, but what did materialise was myself and James became really great friends, and that was how I ended up coming over, essentially. And I went round for John and was working with him, and I had this kind of weird moment because I had made a song, Devotion was the song, and it had taken a large influence from John's album that he had created, and it wasn't even like an album that was meant as anything other than library music. It was meant to be used in background for incidental scenes in TV shows, and it took a large nod to that because I loved that sound. And then fast forward, it's 8-9 months, I'm in this guy's house and he's the one that's mixing it for me. It was this sort of surreal experience because I remember being in my car driving in Glasgow, listening to this guy's album and thinking, this is amazing. And then I'm in the guy's house like 9 months later, and it's crazy.
Is it as crazy as being in my cellar right now?
No, Winnie the Pooh's in the corner. Yeah. It's fucking wild.
I like to maintain the illusion that we're in a proper studio and not a
Bugsy Malone's cell.
Yeah, I mean, at least they clean it up. When I had Haley Stewart over, we recorded in this room, but it was before the ceiling was like kind of falling apart. No, what are those?
Vocal zones.
What?
A vocal zone pastel. Never leave home without them.
Does this improve your voice?
Mm-hmm.
But now we're gonna have like sucking sounds in this thing. Yeah. Okay, for the record, Michael Oakley has just
we're just a
me
couple of suckers.
Some little fucking lozenge that's supposed to be good for our voices. So if you hear a bunch of sucking,
we suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always use those for when I'm singing or long-term speaking.
You do a lot of long-term speaking engagements?
All my life.
Are you a motivational speaker? You want to give me a... People are going to hate this now. They're gonna hear this sound and be like... I want to make sure that, like, if I'm making this sound, I want to make sure you also hear me speaking at the same time, so there's no illusion that we're not blowing each other.
Well, keep it in the side of your mouth. I keep it over in my gum. Yeah, right here.
So when this is through, I'm going to be able to sing.
You could sing if you want.
Devotion. Oh, how about we listen to a song? You want to listen to a song?
Yeah.
Well, let's listen to Devotion because you just brought it up.
Let's do it.
All right, man. This is Devotion by Michael Oakley.
Darkness falls again, and we're on a night drive to nowhere. Our thoughts become our friends, and under the sky
And that was Devotion by Michael Oakley. And I'm here with Michael Oakley right now in studio. How much do those things cost?
They are probably $5 a pack.
All right.
I have to order them from the UK.
Oh, is this like a special British thing?
I order for like 5 packs at a time, and those things are lifesavers if you're a singer. They're like essential for me. I have like tea as well with honey in it and things, but I find vocal zones are the ones that give you the quick fix if your vocals are maybe tired or fatigued. It's just really great to like Ricola. They're nice.
Is that an international commercial? Like, does everyone get the Ricola reference?
Well, I had never heard of them before until I came here.
Oh, so I guess no.
They're just like vocal zones over here.
Vocal zones. So look, you moved to Canada.
That's right.
And you have a wife.
That's right, yeah.
So how did you guys, how do you meet this? Because she's Canadian, right?
That's right, yeah. Well, we started talking, this would have been the start of last year. It was like a Back to the Future page, and she had heard my music. It's funny because I'm in Miami Vice pages on Facebook. I'm a Miami Vice obsessive. She's that way about Back to the Future. So our paths crossed on this Back to the Future page. She heard my music and we started talking. We just hit it off. It was great.
And then the dick pics did flow.
Well, the funny thing was that...
Just kidding, don't do that, people.
No.
That's a terrible thing to do. No one wants to receive or see them.
Yeah, and if you did find a chick that wanted dick pics, I don't really think that would be someone that you would want to be with long term.
Yeah, that's probably, I would feel in this digital age, it could just be like some villainous lady who like collects them and then like has the store ready to like bribe a whole bunch of dudes and be like, if you don't give me the money, I'm gonna show everyone your tiny penis. And then like she's got a hard drive full of dudes with tiny dicks. I don't know who this lady is. I've just invented an evil woman for my imagination, but this is not the case with you.
No, we...
What a segue.
Well, we just sort of hit it off and we were talking together on Skype, and it was just so kind of crazy because I had mentioned, I'm actually going to be in Los Angeles in 6 weeks' time, and she said, I'm going to be there as well. I'm actually going over for a Back to the Future convention thing, and I was like, well, I always take these things as a sign of the hands moving the pieces around or whatever, and I just said, listen, why don't we meet? You know, if I'm going to be there at the same time. So I amended my trip so that I could go there a bit earlier, and she changed her trip to stay a bit later. So we met up, we got on great. It wasn't weird. I think there's always that kind of thing about, what if when you meet it's a bit weird? But we had been talking on Skype and face to face, so we had actually been... You know, it wasn't just texting and then you meet someone. And
there's some people who are shy or awkward, but they can come across cool because they can write witty things like over text and stuff. And then when you meet them in person, like, oh, this person kind of like is looking at the floor all the time and fiddling with their nuts in their pants, you know, and like you're like, oh, this is not the person who I thought it was.
Well, I think probably for guys and people like from our generation, I come from that sort of generation of being old school just before internet, where you actually went out to nightclubs or to bars, or you met somebody that was a friend of a friend, and you kind of socialized that way. So I'm kind of that way anyway. I mean, I'm not frowning upon it, but I'm not the kind of person who would ever go on a dating site, for instance, or do anything like that. I just find it a little too weird, if you know what I mean. I'm a
Xennial, right? That's the 1977 to 1983.
Wow, okay.
Because of how old are you? Are you older than me or younger than me?
36.
All right, so I'm older than you. How about that? Yeah, so we're in the zone. We're in the zone of Xennials, which means that we had a analog childhood and a digital adulthood.
That's true.
So no other generation, it's pretty much that pocket of like these 6 years. So when I grew up, you know, it was all fucking cassettes, fucking VHS tapes, magazines.
That's right.
You had to talk on the phone, cartridges, like, and I even remember my buddy's dad had a fucking 8-track in his, I mean, I know that an 8-track was old, like it felt old to me to see an 8-track player, but it was still a thing that existed. Like there was still like, oh, there's some people who still have in their cars these fucking cartridges they put in to listen to music.
Yeah.
I mean, at that time I recognized like, oh, this is old, right? But well, I guess the internet sort of came out when I was in like grade 8. But really, it didn't become like where everyone has the internet in their house until pretty much like
early
college.
2000s.
Yeah. And at that point, like, I was in college because I came from a small town. So there were still lots of people, like friends of mine who, like, you know, their parents didn't get the internet until, you know, like 2008 or what, you know, like when they finally, like, there comes a point where you all sort of have to have the internet. And even like old people, like, it'll just be part of their phone package. Oh, we'll plug you into a computer, even though they don't understand what the fucking computer is.
It's funny because, you know, we say about like analog and digital. You see the two sides of it from our age, where videotapes and CDs were kind of like the big thing. Even DVDs didn't particularly come out till what, late 90s. It wasn't really a popular thing. It was a bit like Blu-ray.
Well, they were thicker. You remember when CDs and DVDs first came out? They were actually physically
heavier.
thicker. Yeah. I had Batman, like the movie soundtrack on CD, and it's like a thick CD. It's like you couldn't even crack it in half. Whereas like now, towards the end, when like they got cheaper to buy, when you'd be like burning CDs all the time, they got to the point now where you can just fucking like just snap them with like two fingers. Like it's, and I think they die sooner. Like they're not eternal CDs.
Well, it's funny because the early part of it is when they all came out. It's funny. One of my earliest TV video memories is my parents bought me RoboCop on VHS when I was 12, and then fast forward maybe 8 years, you'd be getting these videotapes in charity shops. Remember the one you'd always see, like Friends videotapes littered in every sort of thrift store, charity shop. Same with like synthesizers. When I was just getting into synthesizers, analog had kind of went out, and you could buy all these analog synthesizers really, really cheap. And then the digital synthesizers were the ones that were expensive. But now fast forward on, those digital synthesizers are now like, and it's the analog ones that have accumulated in value.
Don't you wish you could turn back time? I wish that for Lego. Like, because I love Lego, and there was a point in like the 90s when yard sales, people would just be getting rid of buckets of Lego. No one liked Lego in the 90s. Like it was, now everyone knows the worth of it. So it's like you go to a yard sale now, they've got all their Lego in little Ziploc bags, and every Ziploc bag is like fucking $15 for this and 20, and most of the time it's like mixed with fucking Tyco and all these like no brand shitty Legos. And it pisses me off because I just know, oh man, if I was in the 90s, like you could have tricked so many old ladies who were like selling their kids Lego, who had like moved out and like they're clearing out their room and they just got like buckets of Lego, and it's like, I'll take that off your hands for free, old lady. Like that'll be easy for you. And they'd be like, okay, it's a heavy box. And I'm like, yeah, damn right it is.
It's funny that I wonder if nostalgia plays a part in that, and the value and things of it. It's the same with like pop figures now, and I collect pop figures. I like I've got a lot of the Stranger Things ones, and I've got a lot of the Batman ones, Back to the Future ones as well, Breakfast Club. But it's funny, in creeps this super fan geekdom, and you get people that go around all the various stores looking for the trade-in stuff. And they pay a fortune for them, especially the Stranger Things ones. They just released next season's Stranger Things pops before season 3 is even out. I mean, that's stupid. It's just like insanity. But yeah, I used to have quite a lot of Batman Lego. I loved Lego. I had Pirate Ship Lego. I remember my sister had got me that one year for my birthday.
Well, when we lived in this apartment, I think the first year I went on Kijiji when for international listeners who don't know, Kijiji is like a Craigslist. And I actually prefer it just because like they have to post pictures, and so like the format, you see like the nice pictures of the things you're gonna get. Anyway, I went on there and some dude was selling, how much? What? It was like 100 pounds of Lego or something. I bought $900. Like I went to this guy with $900 and got like 5 garbage bags full of Lego. Now, mind you, some of that turned out to be fucking Bionicle. Like there's some Bionicle in there I had to fucking filter out. And actually there was quite a bit. Like I almost think like 1/5 of what I bought was Bionicle. I ended up selling it to somebody who collected Bionicle, but I was like, is this going to be a thing? Like maybe in like 5 years, the way that nostalgia, you know, we have our nostalgia zone where it's like, oh, the things from our childhood are big. But then when the kids get jobs and get older and want nostalgia for their youth, there's going to be a time where like Pokemon is going to be a fucking huge thing because like they're reliving their Pokemon dreams or whatever people do with that.
Even that Pokemon and Digimon, that's, you forget it's like 20 years since that came out.
I know, fucking Digimon. Digimon has the shittiest song. It's got one of the shittiest songs. Do you ever see the show?
Yep.
Digimon, the digital monster, the champions. Like it's like the worst. It's trash. That's a trash song, man.
Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Change into digital
Garbage.
Was there not like a guitar version of it? You know how they had those sort of screaming kind of like guitar ones? Digital monsters in a digital world. Digital monsters, Digimon.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Like that's the worst one ever. Like there is the worst. I have a list. I have an enemies list, and I have a list of the things that just annoyed me so much, but they stick in my head. So when things annoy me, like they stay. There was this show called Beetleborgs, which was like Power Rangers type show for a younger audience.
We are going to cut to like little clips of the music from each of them.
Yeah, so you'll hear.
Okay, good.
And Beetleborgs it's got the most obnoxious intro of anything I've ever seen. The story is, it's like 3 ordinary kids go into a haunted mansion, met a ghost, and then they're Beetleborgs. Like it's so fucking horrible. No, seriously, it is that bad. I'll play it to you after we're done recording.
3 typical average kids inside a haunted mansion. Just by chance, freed a ghost who made them Beetleborgs. Big bad Beetleborgs. Big bad Beetleborgs. Hey, look now, they're superheroes armed with superpowers. Taken from a comic strip and now they're Beetleborgs. Big bad Beetleborgs.
And then it's got these really obnoxious looking monsters, like people in like monster suits.
Yeah.
Like Frankensteins and Draculas and stuff. I don't want to talk about it. Here, let's listen to another song.
Okay.
We're gonna listen to "Here Comes the Night."
Okay, let's do it.
So "Here Comes the Night" by MICHAEL OAKLEY.
I never thought I'd see you ever again. But I swore if I did, I would just be a friend. You took our love and put it 6 feet in the ground. But I'll admit to myself, I still wish you were around. Now here you come calling. You're like a siren that screams through my heart. I can feel myself falling under the spell of your crazy charm. Now here comes the night where we become lovers. When our souls entwine, you'll finally discover that all the angels cry when they hear our song. Grew up on the same streets, though I didn't know your name. Both misunderstood, but our dreams were the same. They tried to break us, make us into something we're not. Unlike those people who never faded into something that time forgot. So will you come calling? I wanna hear you tell me you set me apart. 'Cause you know I've been
And that was Michael Oakley with the track Here Comes the Night. And I'm here with Michael Oakley right now in studio.
Yes.
So your trajectory is like sort of bounced you all over the place. And now you are in Canada, and I'm expecting lots of songs on the next album about I'm just going to get my Timmies.
Well,
Put the vanilla in the cup.
as you saw, I did arrive with a choffee.
Yeah, I've never even heard of a choffee before. I don't like the sound of it.
Yeah, it's a coffee with chocolate in it.
Yeah, see, I'm off caffeine for a while. So I'm like 2 weeks. I might even be like, is this 2 weeks or 3 weeks? My heart beats funny, you see, so I'm trying to cut out the things that...
I can't stop now. I would end up with horrible withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, I think I might be past them now. What I'm trying to do is trying to get energy from other places, because I look like I like caffeine, but for like the past like over a year, like my heart just beats incorrectly, and so caffeine is one of the things that'll like set it off, and so like all of a sudden I have like these like skipped beats, and it's really distracting. So it's like, all right, I won't fucking do that anymore. And even though I love French vanillas from Tim Hortons,
Yeah.
French vanilla is like my favorite thing. I love French vanilla so much. Yeah.
It's only since last year that I started drinking coffee. I had never tried coffee before in my life, which was a lot of people find really weird.
Were you a tea drinker?
Yes, I like herbal teas.
I like smoking herbs, you know what I mean? That's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah, I did used to smoke, and I gave that up. I used to love stimulants, you know, especially sugar. I must confess, I'm an absolute sugar addict. I love sweets and candy and chocolate and things like that. So
I'm big into black tar heroin.
expensive.
The belt is free because you already own the belt. You put that around your arm, and then I guess what you do next is you stick a needle in a vein or something.
Yeah, and then you get a cardboard sign and you just write homeless,
Yeah.
hungry. And then you just leave that, and then you put a cup, and then while you're lying there ODing, you wake up and then there's loads of money, unless you die, and then, well, someone else gets the money.
That's true. Yeah, I guess that's a uplifting trajectory when you get into the fucking black tar heroin game, right? It's you can only go up until you die very soon.
Well, I do think with all of these things that you get to a certain threshold, crossover point, where it's so much in your system, whether that's just smoking cigarettes or smoking weed, and your body just, it's like you hit the plateau, and it just, you're never gonna, you either have to stop and then leave it for a while because you build up the tolerance to it, and then when you do it again, you're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember. But I still do think that you do cross over, and it's just never the same after that.
When you're having your coffee or whatever, like, does that help you work? Like, do you need it to...
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've been diagnosed with ADHD, so I've been told that I should have stimulants, really.
Like, you are an official ADHD?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Attention deficit disorder, but without the hyperactivity. That was when I was a kid.
So what does that mean? You just sit in a chair and you're not bouncing around, but you're also just kind of looking around the room and not focusing on things?
I was more of the wanting to make everybody laugh and have a good time, and couldn't sit still and just...
Wait, but is this you just know this now, like as an adult?
Yeah, at the time it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But when I got older, I was 29 when I got diagnosed with that, and it was kind of good because it obviously gives you a sort of, I guess, an explanation for things, but it doesn't particularly, moving forward, do that much for you.
I didn't know adults had it. Like, I don't know how that manifests itself in an adult. Like, you always have the image of whenever ADHD, it's always kids, and it's kids running around throwing shit and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm on the side of, because I've been prescribed medication before, but I don't take the medication for it. I find that the medication did help, but I was never a fan of taking that kind of medication long term. It made me uncomfortable. I just felt like there was definitely some issues that would arise with that. And
did you gain weight?
No, actually, you'd be more likely to lose weight. They're amphetamine-based medications.
Anal leakage?
The thing was, though, you know, when people that they don't have that, because the whole, I guess, premise about it is that you have a lack of dopamine. The reason why people with ADHD are drawn to stimulants is because, you know, things like smoking, the nicotine, sugar, amphetamines, they all all
Did I remember to say sugar?
Sugar,
yeah.
But they all stimulate dopamine receptors. So where if somebody who doesn't have that issue takes those types of stimulant, they're high and they're very animated and, you know, like hyperactive. But for people that have a lack of dopamine, it kind of just gives them that nudge to be like, oh, I feel like I can think great and I can work great, and it's actually a more calming effect than hyperactivity.
Okay. So the bottom line is you're fucking in control.
I am in control.
That's cool.
In control, yeah. I do like my coffee in the morning. Coffee and a banana, like most people, probably.
Yeah. So what's on tap for the future, man?
Well, I'm currently finishing off my next album, which is going to be called Introspect. As I said earlier, it's all about songs from me living in Glasgow and getting away from Glasgow, and there's a lot of sadness in it. I think it's definitely I'm sort of facing a lot of things, which it's only by me stepping outside of living there and looking back on it, I'm able to kind of talk about it objectively, maybe. I think as a writer, there's a sort of pitfall of maybe you can get a bit too self-indulgent with writing if you're not writing from a perspective of objectivity. I don't tend to write about things I'm going through at the time when I'm going through it. It's usually just a little bit after, so I've got that little bit of distance and objectivity, I guess, to be able to do that. But that is what's in the future for me. I'm releasing that through new Retrowave.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Canadian winter?
Well, I've experienced the one last year, and that was horrific. I mean, I've never experienced that. That lasted about 5 months.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we were in Ottawa. We were driving back, and I was playing a show up there with Dana Jean Phoenix, a place called House of Targ. It was a long drive. I think it's about a 6-hour drive to Ottawa.
Yes.
And when we were coming back, it started snowing. It was a complete blizzard. And this was in the middle of April. And we had to stop at a place called Napanee, and we stayed in a hotel overnight there because it was impossible to drive in it. And then 3 weeks later, it was sunny. Summer started.
Yeah, that was weird though. If I go back in time and listen to my podcast from last year, there's a lot of me talking about that day in April where there's that fucking blizzard, like because that's not supposed to happen. Oh, because that was when Computer Magic and MATOS played, and there was that blizzard.
That's right, yeah.
And that was that weekend, and I remember I think I took some video on my phone where I was like walking down this street, and it was quiet. It had that winter quiet, and we're in Toronto, like it's the biggest city in Canada, and it was dead silent.
No footsteps in the snow.
Yeah, and the road was kind of ice, and it was cold, and I just remember like, what a fucking weird April. You know, like this is not... But whatever, man. You'll get used to it.
In Scotland, we don't really particularly get a summer. We get maybe a couple of weeks of sun, and then it's kind of normal, and then you maybe get a week of it or a couple of days of it sporadically, and then that's it, and it's all over. But generally we just get more of a kind of gloom and a lot of rain. It's kind of miserable. So I guess I counterbalance that with I just got a 5-month summer, which I've never had in my life before. I've never had that amount of sun, so I would be happy with that every year.
Swings and roundabouts.
Oh yeah, the summer this year was just immense.
Yeah, and it gets hot. Like that's the thing too. Like with all the I mean, I guess obviously global warming is playing a part in all of this. But when people make fun of Canada, like yes, like the winter is cold, but now the summers are getting really hot too, to the point where I don't even know when the optimal weather is anymore, because it seems to like literally go to like, oh, and today it's 40. Like there's a few days, remember like in the summer, I know like there was like days where it was fucking 40.
I guess for me, I've never experienced that, so it was like it was brand new. Here's the thing, right? I've never ever had like the type of weather where I could just go out and wear shorts and a tank top, and I managed to get to do that, and I was just like,
For me, optimal weather is when I get to dress the way I like to dress and I'm comfortable. So I like sort of early summer, late spring, where I can actually wear like a nice jacket and pants. I'm not really a shorts guy. I got skinny legs. So I like to wear pants. When I can dress nicely, where I don't have to wear like a big overcoat and a scarf and a stupid toque and like all these other dumb things, it has to be sort of warm, but not too warm.
Yeah.
I'll come up with a fucking system. I'll tell everybody the optimal temperature for me personally, and if that is something that people can base their lives around, so be it.
I hear it's going to snow this weekend.
Yeah. It's fucking... The weather here makes no sense anymore, man. It's a fucking gibberish.
You can feel it in the air, the sort of...
I can feel it rolling in the air tonight. You do it. You're a singer. I'm not a singer.
I'm waiting for you to do it. I'm gonna take my time.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna take my time. That's it.
Game over.
All right, man. Well, look, we gotta wind it down, man.
Boo.
Yeah. So, do you have any like parting words?
Be good to yourself and each other, Jerry Springer.
Be good to yourself and each other. A quote by Jerry Springer, brought to you by Michael Oakley. Do you want to end on a song? Do you want to tell me about the track? Hold on here.
Well, I guess if
End of summer.
Yeah, I guess if that's we were talking about the weather, so
yeah. Well, how about this? We'll go but you can throw to end of summer, and that's how we'll end this show.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so do it.
Oh, this is the end of summer. Yeah. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Reading between the lines, trying to figure what you feel inside. Lately I've been getting the feeling something's not right. 'Cause you glow and then you start to fade. Pull me close and then you turn away. And I'm lost inside an endless maze, looking for you. Yeah, I'm drowning in an ocean of kaleidoscope emotions. Neon signs that shine along the way say it's the end of summer. Slowly pulls my world apart. Got empty feelings where I had a heart. Memories and photographs remind me of what we were. Yeah, I'm drowning in an ocean of kaleidoscope emotions. Neon signs that shine along the way say it's the end of summer.
right, and that was my conversation with Michael Oakley. Thank you very much for listening to the show, and I hope you guys in America have a lovely Thanksgiving. That's directed at you, Marco. You're in America.
I already had a great Thanksgiving. I told you about it. Thanks, man.
Well, the bottom line is you're a cool guy. Thanks for doing this with me for another week. And for everybody else,
always a pleasure.
Tune in next time to Beyond Synth, the coolest chat, the coolest music. I'm trying to come up with a new catchphrase. I'm going to change it. I think maybe I'll just introduce one for next season. I'm aiming for something along the lines of cool chat, cool show, something like that, or cool music, cool chat, cool show, because I say cool all the time. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
You're a cool guy. You'll figure it out.
I'll try. And for everybody else, but thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/BeyondSynth. Don't forget to check out BeyondSynth.com for the Synthwave Artist Database, and you can also press the support the show button there to go to the Patreon. See, there's so many different ways, and that's the bottom line. And Marco, have a lovely week.
Thank you, I will. I'm getting Red Dead Redemption. I'll talk more about it next week, I guess. And thanks everyone for tuning in.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening. This was Beyond Synth. No more show today. Now shut up, the robot lady's got something to say.
Thanks for listening to Beyond Synth. If you would like to support Beyond Synth, please visit patreon.com/Beyond Synth. And don't forget to check out Beyond Synth on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Instagram. If you want to submit your music for the show, please email it to beyondsynth@gmail.com. Have a lovely day.